So let me ask you guys this, because this happens to me quite a bit. I've been doing this for so long. When I run into a problem and I need some help, it's a top tier problem. And I search and search and search for answers on the internet, and half the time I can't find them. It's almost like you hit a certain point and nobody's posted anything for this, or they don't know.
Yep.
That can certainly happen. Yep. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's and that happens with that happens when either one of two things. Either your expertise has gotten to the point that nobody can teach you something.
I'm not putting myself up there.
No, but it does happen, right? Yeah, because you've been doing it for how many fucking years now?
Since 89?
Yeah, since 89.
So 30 plus, 40 plus years, coming up on 40 years.
Yep.
There's not going to be, you're at an expert level at that point, right?
At some stuff, yeah, I would like to think so.
Jason and I are experts at some facets of the electrical industry. There is a certain point where it's just like, okay, either the problem has never been seen before, never been documented before, which is 9 times full of shit.
Yeah.
Or nobody has been able to put it together into a condensed version enough to teach somebody.
Or I've oftentimes thought that, you know what? I don't have time to make YouTube videos.
And there's that.
Well, there's also too, at some point, the level of the normal DIYer in their own garage that's going to give this a try, you have now passed this. This is to the point where like, well, I'm not making a video about that because they should be bringing that into a professional. Right. There's also some of that too, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah, the shade tree mechanics, they stop at a certain level.
Right.
There's some things you just can't do on the gravel road.
Right.
Gravel driveway.
Right.
Yeah, you kind of need a lift or should have one.
Right.
You're going to need some air impact tools. That Craftsman wrench ain't going to cut it. You're snapping that thing.
Exactly.
Like that's going to happen for sure.
Exactly.
Well, we jumped right in here. I like it.
Yeah, let's back up and actually do what we're supposed to do, shall we?
Well, this is you, buddy.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Ice Shower After Work podcast. Another episode this week. Jason, how you doing, my man?
Excellent, buddy. How was your week?
It was good. It's weird being back in person.
It is strange. We're back in the East Side Drop trailer today, staring you in the eye. You haven't gotten uglier, so that's something.
You have.
I have, yeah. I'm getting older. What are you going to do, man? The years are starting to catch up with me. What can I say?
Can't we all just get along?
We're all gray in this room. That's all there is.
There is a lot of gray in this room. Not as much as a few other episodes. We've had some old timers in here, but yeah, that's good.
But as we've said, this show is for the people who keep the world from falling apart while everybody else is just still trying to figure out which end of the fucking screwdriver to hang on to, right?
Facts.
So today we've got a damn good one. We are sitting here with Andy Bougie, which I almost fuck that up every time, Andy. Sorry, sir. He is a self-employed mechanic out of South St. Paul. He's been wrenching on things since 1989, which is fucking insane. I was 8 years old, by the way. Wow. That means this guy has seen vehicles go from hit it with a hammer and try again to plug in a laptop and pray to the computer gods, right? Right,
yes.
Andy?
Yes.
He runs his own shop. He works on newer vehicles. I remember you said you try to keep it, less than 20 years.
Right. Yep.
And then still doing custom exhaust work, right?
Just did a 64 Cadillac.
Oh, fucking beautiful. 64 Caddy. Oh, my God. And so we're just going to really talk about what it's like running your own garage and how the auto industry has changed and things that you've seen and people that you deal with not cleaning out their fucking cars.
Yes, I have stories.
That's what we were hoping for.
Yeah, so what do you say we break into this pig, huh?
Let's get into it.
We got you for the next little bit, right?
For however long you need me, because all I'm doing after this is going back to work.
Well, let's try to keep you away from that as long as we can. All right, everybody, grab a drink and buckle in here. Andy, welcome to the show, buddy. We're glad to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we were real happy that you reached out. You and I had run into each other at the Chili Feed last year. We're going to try to line up recording from the Chili Feed this summer. I've already been talking to guys. I was down there yesterday. We're going to try to make it happen. I think that'd be fun. The only hassle is going to be media releases, but we'll figure something out.
Yeah, I got paper versions.
Yeah, we can make that happen. First and foremost, give everybody just a tiny bit of your background. Growing up, kids, family, especially where you went to high school for some reason in the Midwest? That seems to be the first
thing.
question everybody asks. So go ahead, man. Tell us all about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised in southeast Minneapolis. I got 6 brothers and sisters. I'm right smack in the middle. I got 4 sisters and 2 brothers. Tight-knit family. Mom and dad are both passed. Unlike all the rest of my siblings, I went to college but didn't finish. They all finished. And I was looking for a job when I was about 19 or so, around in there, and Sears was hiring for tire installers. And I'd always been pretty much mechanically inclined, like Dad would come home when I was 12 and the lawnmower was taken apart, things like that, take radios apart, whatever. And so I took the job, and I liked it. And back then, I mean, obviously pre-internet or anything,
Right.
I didn't go to tech school. I didn't go to a VOTech or anything like that, but I had access to free training classes sometimes when manufacturers or companies would put them on. And so I went to every training class I could. My first job, I worked at Sears out in Brooklyn Center. It was a freestanding auto center away from the mall, and that was a blast. There were 20 bays there, 2 shifts of techs.
Oh, my God.
Jesus
And-
Christ.
We had to store our toolboxes downstairs. So you'd haul them down and haul them up with a freight elevator.
Oh,
Back then, Sears did everything. They did engines, transmissions, everything. And so what I kind of did, thanks to Mom and Dad for teaching me how to have some social awareness, the older guys there, I basically was their gopher. And I shut my mouth and I did whatever they needed me to do, and they taught me a lot of stuff because of it. And along the way, I did everything from tires, lube tech, whatnot, up to in the mid-'90s, I was a general manager for a string of franchise stores, and all the way up to owning my own shop. I bought my shop in 2006, so it's 20 years at the end of June, this June. Owning your own business is not all it's cracked up to be. That's for sure. But it's been a really rewarding career. I'm currently divorced. I got divorced about 20 years ago, but the career was good enough. When I was married, my wife didn't work, and we had a nice house, and we took good vacations, and it's been a great industry. And that's one of the things that drew me to this show was the whole basic idea of trying to get people to look at the trades again. Because I really think that in the late 80s through the 90s, we really did a disservice by discouraging VOTech and promoting college so that all the snowflakes can have trigger warnings, until they realize the world isn't that nice.
Yeah, and we've got to point out a few things as we go here. VOTech, Vocational Technical College, folks. It's what we'd call a trade school today.
Yep.
But back in the day, it was always called a VOTech.
It was always VOTech.
This is true.
Yeah, I only mention it because some people are going to be focusing on that going, what's
What the
VOTech?
fuck
What's
is a VOTech?
And so you've got a couple kids as well. I know in the pre-interview you were saying one of your daughters was a goaltender. I was myself, so I appreciate that. How old are the
So
kids
you're
now?
crazy too.
I'm a little crazy too, yeah.
So
A little,
quick
he's
story
batshit
for you
crazy.
about goaltending. My oldest one was a pretty good goaltender, and I got him into some private coaching out in Eden Prairie. And so we went out there the first time, and the coach was a really great coach. We're on the way home, and I also coached youth hockey for about 20 years. Matter of fact, I coached around here where you live. And so on the way home from that first session, I asked my kid, I said, so did you have fun? And he goes, well, yeah, that was a great time. I said, you like to coach? Yeah, I love to coach. And I said, well, tell me one thing you learned. And he says, well, I learned not to listen to you.
It is one of the things you say as a coach to start out, like for sure, right?
Yep.
I never did any hockey coaching because I never played much organized hockey really at all. Like a Sunday afternoon beer league was about the most organized I ever really got. But I did spend some time coaching soccer when I moved to the States. I played soccer as a kid. It was the first thing you told everybody, like, what we teach you is what you need to learn. If your parent wasn't a pro, stop listening to them. Right. It's a mean thing to do because a lot of parents came like, well, I'm trying to go out there and teach them and pitch them things. And I don't care what you're doing. You're teaching opposite of me. Stop all of that. So.
Yeah.
There's so much truth to that. And I got to tell you, all the years I coached, I coached here. I coached over in Minneapolis. I coached summer showcase teams, AAA teams. I even ran my own hockey school for a couple of years. And out of every single kid I ever coached, there was only one who ever got drafted, and he never made it out of the minors.
Yep.
So for parents that think that their kid's going to be a pro, good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, 1% of kids playing sports actually get college scholarships.
Yeah.
1%.
Yeah.
And you've got to be fucking on the ball.
And I think to this day, your best odds is American football because there's so many players on the team. Yeah, just mathematically, there's more people that get into it.
Yeah, at the pro level, I would agree. At the amateur level or minors, I would say hockey or baseball, because there are so many hockey teams out there and so many minor league baseball teams out there. The problem is the gap between the talent level is razor sharp thin. I mean, it's a half a step for hockey.
It's real. It's so much more fast paced, even from when I was a kid. Now, the gear, the equipment, what they're doing. I mean, they're breaking more sticks in a week of me watching hockey in the regular season than you would have seen in a whole season 20 years ago.
Well, yeah, these kids today are doing stuff with a puck and a stick that we would have never dreamed of when we were kids, and they're making them bigger. Right. I mean, the kids are huge.
Oh yeah, you see one of these guys like when they're like 6'9" on skates. I'm like,
yeah,
what? Like,
yeah,
that's a big dude to be cruising around at 70 miles an hour. Probably, it's wild.
And he's 14.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's crazy. Now I was just talking to somebody recently because they're like, "Wow, we got to get fighting out of the." No, we're not.
No, that's part of the game.
No, that's part of it.
The whole thing about that is the body contact. And I was always a believer that we should start the body contact as young as possible, because now Minnesota hockey in particular, they moved checking up to peewee level now, and or maybe it's Bantam, I can't remember. But all I can see is those are the ages where you're going to have one kid on the ice that's 5'11" and 160 pounds, and you're going to have another kid on the ice that's 5'1" and he's 90 pounds. And if they've never been taught body contact, somebody's going to get hurt.
In a bad way.
Yes.
Right.
And what I think a lot of fans or people miss about the body contact is the whole idea behind it is removing the body off of the puck. That's what it is. It's not to get the big check. It's not to hurt somebody, get the crowd cheering. Now, the fights are different because you have to establish some law and order on the rink. And unlike, say, baseball, basketball, football, you could theoretically skate an entire period without a whistle.
Correct.
So there has to be some law and order on the ice, and that happens through you don't get to hurt our superstar because we're sending the monster after you then.
Right. And I had an uncle that used to say it's the last sport and only sport where they let the inmates run the asylum.
Yes.
You want to get your frustrations out? Go get them out. But you got to be willing to drop the gloves and take a punch in the eye just in case.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got to earn it, right? Because, I mean, you see not always, but the superstars, they're very rare to get in a scrap. Because back in the day, you had a goon for that.
Yep.
Now, most teams, at least once a season, you got to think about trying to pump your team up and drop the gloves. So it is what it is, right? We don't want to get too much into the hockey here. I want to ask you one question, though, that I haven't been to any little kid games since I came to the States. Did they have the stop sign sticker on the back of the jerseys here?
Yes.
Okay, to remind kids not to...
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought that was a great thing when that happened.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, when I was a kid, saw people play, that came into light around 95, 96, and it stopped so many injuries. Like unnecessary, just as a reminder to the kid, like, oh, if you can see that, lay off. So
I want to say one more thing about hockey to any parents out there. And I learned one thing about coaching is it made me a better parent when I wasn't coaching my kids. But, after a ref makes a call, yelling and screaming does no good.
Sit
the
down and
ref's
shut your
not going to
fucking
change the call because Andy got mad and yelled about it.
No.
I'm going to show you some videos before you go that I'm sure didn't make their way to television in the States, but they had a whole series of public service announcement commercials for a couple of years reminding parents, hey, it's a game. And it was the children in regular places. So, for example, there was one where a child was sitting in the cart at the grocery store and someone walking by happened to just bump into the parent's cart and the kid goes off like a parent would at a game, going, "Are you going to let them get away with that? This is your grocery store." To make it how ridiculous it was when parents did it. And it's like, if it's not okay for them, it's not okay for you. Yeah. It was a really good series of commercials.
So true.
Yeah.
No, and that's a good point. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time again on sports. My girls were swimmers. Right? Okay. So I became a USA swim official and a ref for swim meets. And I disqualified both of my girls at a swim meet.
Oh, I've thrown my stepson out of games.
That was a very quiet 3-hour drive home.
Mm-hmm.
Same meet?
Yeah. Same meet.
Funny.
Same day.
Funny.
Like, Dad, I can't believe you disqualified us. I'm like, you screwed up. I can't show you favoritism just because you're my kids. Yeah. You screwed up.
Quite the opposite. I was watching you a little harder than the other kids.
Yeah, I kind of was. Like, I'm going to bust your chops.
And before we get too far here, I am going to circle back a little bit to hockey later because you mentioned something about movies. We were talking before we got going here, and you said something about Miracle. We're going to come back to that. I have a problem with it. But before we forget, what high school did you go to?
I went to St. Agnes High School in St. Paul.
Okay. Yeah, I don't understand the rationale in the Midwest, but people, it's one of the first questions they always ask when they meet somebody, like, "Oh, you got brothers and sisters? Where did they go to school?" It always seems to be the school thing.
They want to know if they know you or not. Like, that's
but why high school is such a connection? I guess it must just be a bigger thing about the area you grew up in, who you might know.
You spent most of your life there, right?
I wonder if it's more a thing of an age, a generation. Because, I mean, for Minnesota in particular, we didn't have open enrollment till I think it was the mid-'80s or so. And so, like, for instance, our Minnesota State high school hockey tournament, not to circle back to hockey, but for 50, 60 years ago, it was the inner city schools that were playing in it.
Sure.
And so those schools were readily identifiable, and that tournament was it's always been such a big thing across the country. So I think that might be something that's a generational thing.
Yeah, very could be.
Yeah, and when you point that out, I am amazed that the Midwest has the high school hockey tournament in the big venue on TV every year, and somehow back home we haven't caught on to that yet. Wow. I'm amazed they don't show the big high school like hockey tournaments. When I saw it on TV here, I'm like, what a genius idea. How does Canada not have this? Maybe other cities do, but they didn't where I grew up. So,
when I was a kid, they just shut St. Paul down.
Yeah, it's basically, people started asking me about, like, "Oh, you've been watching the hockey tournament?" I'm like, "What hockey tournament?" Like, the high school hockey tournament's on TV. I thought you were Canadian. I'm like,
and how long have you been here?
I immigrated in 2006. So when you started,
John, you need to give him some help.
I've been here less than he has, and I've never watched it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's great. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a genius idea. I don't understand why.
You're still all right, man.
Yeah. I got here in 2013.
Yeah. All right. So St. Agnes, that's good to know for everybody listening. So you started out with that. You've been running your own business now since 2006, you said. One thing that really interested me when we did the pre-interview with you, you're keeping up on your technical skills by having extra training and somebody with respect in your age bracket. Listen, Andy's not old by any means, folks, but he's a full-grown adult. That's not real common. People think that they've learned what they need to learn. They're running their own business and they keep going. I was really impressed that you did that. Is there been something when you were taking these extra educational courses that either you really enjoyed learning about, it might not have necessarily even been that useful on the job, or something that was a complete waste of time? Has anything dawned on you about that?
Well, I can say this, as far as something that really grabbed my attention and stuff was as the technology in automotive keeps advancing, it's accelerating like everything else.
Sure.
And probably about 6 or 7 years ago, I read all the trade magazines all the time. And seeing some of this new technology come out, I was fascinated by it. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm a voracious reader. I read all the time. And I'm always trying to learn something. I've done a lot of crazy things in my life, but I've never failed at anything. I've just found lots of ways not to do things.
You're right.
But the technology is what grabbed me, and I wish I was 30 years younger. My mind is with it, but I have too many other obligations running a shop where I don't always get to put my knowledge into practice. But I love the classes. For instance, Scan Tools is a good example. Those are the tools that we plug into the data link connector in the car so we can get information out of the car. And no, those tools don't say, hey, fix this or replace that. That's not how it works. Right. They give us a lot of data. We have to interpret the data. Now, what cars have come across today is if you take, say, a brand new 2026 Chevy truck, that thing's probably got somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 computers in it, somewhere around in there. And those computers all communicate now on binary code. Now, there's certain communication protocols that we have acronyms for all of them, but you may have a combination of protocols in a vehicle for communication, which would be like different languages. And you need to make sure your scan tool can read those languages and turn them into English for us. Now, one of the things the scan tools have done in recent years, which has been huge, is most of the newer ones now offer what they call topography. So we can look at a visual picture of all the modules in a vehicle and see where the mini networks are and how they all tie in together, because that way we can determine how inputs and outputs go through the system. Like on some vehicles, you might have one of the smaller systems be bossed around by the radio module. That's not unheard of.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. There sometimes you might run across a car, say a no start, and you need a new radio because of it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought.
I've heard about the security systems being tied to the radio system. Like,
security systems is a whole nother issue. They what we deal with now, in Stellantis, Chrysler is the biggest one for this. They have what they call gateways. Mm-hmm. So there's so much Bluetooth communication and wireless communication going on in your vehicle. And with the advent, of course, the more technology we develop, the more crooks get better at what they do. Yep. So in order to protect vehicles from being hacked, they basically put like a invisible shield around the vehicle. Now, what that does for us as technicians is we can't just go to any vehicle, plug into the data link connector, and fix the car or see the information. We have to get through that gateway first. And that gateway is basically controlled by another company. So then we have to get authorization. We have to have an account. We have to have scan tools registered. We as technicians have to be registered to go through this process. That's one of the reasons why diagnostic fees are higher. Because
that's good
it takes whenever you figure you bring in a car and say you've got 5-6 different trouble codes on that vehicle. A good technician is going to spend a half an hour to 45 minutes just reading and doing research, because we can't know everything about every single system ever built.
Right.
And there is stuff that's new to us sometimes that's unfamiliar. And so we have to spend time, we have to sit down and read, which means we're not standing over the vehicle working.
Right.
And that time needs to be paid for and compensated for the technician's time and the cost of the tooling.
Definitely.
Right.
But make no mistake about it, the shops that people go into today will not be recognizable in 10 years. It is going to be so different. They're actually doing beta testing right now on developing sensors and things of that nature to detect whether somebody's been drinking.
Oh, sure. They're going to have to move in that direction. Yes. If they want self-driving cars and vehicles, which I'm sort of against, they're going to have some way of monitoring that and making sure that...
Well, there's issues with that, though. Isn't that one hell of an infringement on our freedom? I mean, I'm not saying that people should be encouraged to drink and drive, but isn't that your choice?
Yeah, it becomes not your choice. Oh, okay, I'm gonna be the dude, the bad guy on this one.
Yeah, because I got to push back on something different later. You go ahead.
It becomes out of not your choice anymore when it's something that can kill somebody. Like you're actively going to do something that you take the chance and actually killing people.
Let's go this route then. Do you really believe that our government wants to stop drinking and driving?
Oh, God, no.
Well, then why are we doing it?
Population
why
control.
Are we going through a back door? Why don't we make the laws hard enough and stringent enough to really bring it down to manageable levels, so to speak, or stop it? Or is that because all the politicians drink?
Oh, well, you see, there's too much money involved between increased insurance and DUI costs.
So then we should lose our freedom because of it.
Well, you shouldn't be doing it in the first place.
No, you shouldn't.
Right.
But at the same time, you can't. You have to give people the freedom to choose to do right or to do wrong.
That's true.
Oh, you're talking about basically free will. Right.
No, I'm talking about
free will of
freedom
choice.
of laws.
Right. But at the same time, if you take away somebody's choice in drinking and driving, say what is the recent thing I've been seeing about the new vehicles coming out with cameras that read your face and shit like that?
Yeah. I think Volvo and Saab have them right now.
Yeah. Oh, you seem under stress. Like, we're not going to start the car. Right.
That's kind of messed up.
That's fucked up. But when it comes to sensors, anything, I will say, here's where I do agree. Anything can cause your breath to smell like you've been fucking drinking.
Right.
Right. Unless you got a straight up, right there.
I use these on Zyn tablets, and on more than one occasion, I've had a coworker working with them in the morning. Now, I switched to these mint ones away from, I used to use the citrus ones. It was always the citrus ones. They'd come over and try to be nice and go, hey, listen, man, you must have had a late night last night. You smell like booze. I'm like, no, man, I'm good. Teeth brushed, showered up. And then I realized,
really?
It smells
shit like that.
Smells like booze to some people. Right. When I had to open it up and go, smell this. Is this what you're smelling? Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to be like that. Sorry, side tangent there.
Yeah, I mean, we can go right down a fucking rabbit hole with that conversation, because then it gets into, okay, what other freedoms are you willing to give up in order to keep people safe?
It really does become a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm. Right. It can go right down a mudslide real fast.
You know, we referenced Bill Maher earlier when we were talking. And one thing that he said on one of his shows not too long ago is he mentioned a thing called the Overton window.
Yep.
I'm unfamiliar. What's the Overton window?
The Overton window is very interesting. What it is basically how we open up permissions in society little by little. And the things that we accept in society today and things that are normalized, 60 years ago, people would have just freaked out.
It's pushing the boundary just a little bit by little bit.
Okay, I understand the theory. I've heard that. I'd never heard the connection of calling it the Overton window. So I know what you're talking about. Okay, great. Yep. Yeah. And before I forget here, I wanted to just circle back to something we were talking about. So you were talking about sensors and things like that. I saw a video recently, and I was trying to do a little research. I'm not very mechanically minded.
Sure.
I am now. I wasn't before. A story I'm going to bring up for you in a minute to make you laugh. But I had saw a video where they were talking about the technology in a way circling around. They showed an older gentleman, I think it was in the 60s. He had a wrench on an engine, listening to the wrench to diagnose the problem with the tractor engine by the vibration and the sound that it made.
Mm-hmm. We still do that.
Yeah, and now they're trying to figure out a scanner, like a metal detector, that they could have right at the gate driving into your garage that could listen to the vehicle and sense it driving in and diagnose probable causes and issues with the vehicle before it even hits the lift. Like, that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. They've got technology similar to that already that's in use.
Yeah, I find that really impressive.
Oh, it's cool. Well, it's no different than if I go for a test drive with a vehicle that has a miss, and it's getting harder the more technology is in vehicles. But there was a point in time where you could drive down the road. I could tell you whether it was a fuel miss or an ignition miss by the way it felt.
Sure.
So to use technology to start to determine those things, that's a big help. I mean, even noises. What's a clunk? A clunk to you might be one thing. To me, it's another. To you, it might be John. To John, it might be you. You know, it squeaks, grinding.
So from the business, because you've been in the business a long time now, is that adage really true? Do you get people coming in going, yeah, it's making this weird noise. It sounds like clunk, bang. Like, do they actually do that?
Well, some people I have repeat it.
Okay, just for fun.
Yeah,
I got you. Okay, perfect.
But they do it, and it can be difficult. I try to make it a point when somebody comes in with a noise to ride in the car with them, because when you're driving your own vehicle, those other 20 noises you've tuned out a long time ago.
Oh yeah,
you hear this new one. You put me in the car, I hear all those 20 noises.
Good point.
So I'm not in tune with what you're hearing.
Good point.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
I spent a few years when I was going through trade school. I worked for Checker, selling auto parts, and then O'Reilly's when they took over. I continued on with O'Reilly. So I learned a lot about vehicles that I wasn't a vehicle. Like, I was always handy, but I never changed anything out. So actually, it was a radiator that I had to change out on an old car my wife had. Called my brother-in-law. He's very handy. I'm like, hey, listen, I'll go get a radiator, but I have no idea what I'm doing. When I went into the shop just to order it coming in the next day, by the time I came back the next day, the guy had offered me a job. And I had to tell him, like, dude, I've never changed my oil. I'm getting my brother-in-law to help me with this radiator. Like, I don't know anything at all. He's like, hey, you seem nice. You're friendly. You seem fairly intelligent. You'll learn the parts as they go. Mm-hmm. One of my first weeks working there, fella came in from one of the wrecker shops where they tow cars. He had a fuel filter in his hand. He's like, yeah, I need one of these for whatever. I'm like, okay, great. What is it? He literally snatched it out of my hand and went over to somebody he knew had worked there for a while. And when I'm not dealing with this bullshit, I had the exact same experience 2 years later where one of the new employees, that same guy came in with a part, snatched it out of their hand and brought it over to me. I'm like, hey, man, do you remember when this was you and me? And he went, oh, yeah, that's right. But it's one of those things where you don't know what you don't know sort of thing.
Right.
I didn't realize until I had worked there the amount of effort and, like, as you were talking about, training that goes into learning all these diagnostic systems, how to do. It's not just, okay, open the wrenches up and start cranking wrenches. You need to find the problem. It's not like it used to be. So to my original point, I'm happy to hear that you're interested in those, especially where you don't like working on older vehicles. A lot of people that have been in the business for a while be like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need to do all that. I'm cranking wrenches and changing filters and doing. No, not you. Well, I like that about you.
There's a place for different experience levels. There's a place for different talent levels. It's almost like, if you remember back in the 80s and the 90s, a lot of aftermarket franchises were specialty shops until they started figuring out that they couldn't live on that. So they started becoming more and more general service. Right. Well, it's almost starting to take a turn now again to having certain specialty shops because of the technology. When you think about it, you bring your vehicle into a shop and a technician has to look at your vehicle. A technician has to know the brake system. They have to know the charging system, the starting system, the internal engine system, the fuel system. You might have a sunroof that has a problem, so we have to know how a sunroof works. We have to know how windows work. We have to know the communication system. You got a problem with your seat. We look at that. There isn't a system on a vehicle that we don't have some knowledge of, and it doesn't always carry over to the next. And for a long time, I've thought the biggest problem in the automotive industry is not anybody who's not honest. You're going to have that in any industry. But there's too many guys out there who are working on things they are not qualified to work on.
Right.
And there's a myriad of reasons for that. But automotive, you need to be smart to be a good automotive technician. Right. You need to understand electrical. You guys know that kind of stuff, and you got to have that foundation. I've long time considered, and this is nothing against dealership technicians, but I've seen a lot better technicians overall in independent aftermarket shops because we don't have a parts counter for that one make that we work on.
Right.
I'll work on a Toyota. The next day I'll work on a Honda. Then I'll work on a Chevy. Then I'll work on a Ford. I went out to South St. Paul Airport one time and worked on a JLG lift.
Wow.
I mean, people bring in their weed whackers, their lawnmowers, their snow blowers. You know, we do all that stuff. That's a hell of a lot of knowledge.
Yep.
That's a lot of ability.
So I like how you put that, and I remember our conversation when we were having our quick conversation with you a while back. I asked you about the ASE certified techs and everything like that, and you don't actually have to carry those to be a mechanic.
No.
But you're pretty much just as trained, just as certified, just as knowledgeable as any of those specialty techs, just across a broader range, right?
I would say to a certain extent, yes, but I would keep this in mind. make no mistake about it. The guys who are master technicians, or they're master technicians in more than one grouping of tests, those guys are sharp. Those guys can fix some stuff, man. But I would look at it more of like say I have an Acura TL that comes in and I got to do something inside the door with the window. Body panel. I can't picture it in my head how to take one off. I don't want to break stuff. So I go on Google, and there's a guy on there that's got a video that he loves Acura TLs and he knows everything about them, but he doesn't know anything about Astrovans.
Right.
So I'll watch that video, and I think there's a lot of guys out there who are like that. They're very good. Like years ago, you had transmission shops and repair shops. Because guys who did transmissions, they didn't do any other repairs, and vice versa, because of the knowledge needed and required to do it. So I would in no way diminish the accomplishment of ASE certifications. I had ASE certifications. I let mine lapse a long time ago because when I got my own shop, they weren't as important to me, and they probably should be. But to be honest with you, John, I'm really not in the car business. I'm in the people business.
Sure.
I'm in the problem-solving business. And if somebody chooses not to let me service their vehicle because I'm not currently ASE certified, well, I guess that's the way it is.
Right.
Right. That's a conscious choice I make.
Right.
So
when it comes to the vehicles that you have coming in, what is your take on EVs? Like
Your honest take.
Honest, like no bullshit. I mean, we all know where I sit on EVs, and I'm a fucking electrician.
Well, let me give you a quick story. You know Dean.
Yeah.
Okay, Dean had a Buick LaCrosse, which was a hybrid.
Yeah.
Okay, he called me last winter. Car stopped running, going down the freeway to work, and
Is this the same Dean I know?
Anderson,
Yeah. Okay.
Shout out, Dean.
Shout out, Dean.
Love you, Dino.
And yeah, he texted me last night. You want to go riding today?
Did you tell him you were coming here?
No, I didn't. I figured I'd just let the chips fall where they may.
Fair enough, yeah.
But so he brings his car in, and what had happened was the tensioner for the alternator bracket, or the tensioner bracket, broke. And that car does not have an alternator. It's got a starter generator on it. This thing is huge. Now, also, it's got a hybrid battery in between the rear seat and the trunk.
Yep. It
goes across the entire car. That's how big the battery is.
They're huge.
And I don't have a ton of experience with EVs. It's really cool technology, and I'd like to learn more about it, but there's only so much capacity up here at one time. So with Dean's car, that was the first one I really had to get into with some of that stuff, and I had to actually buy tools for it too, because you have to have protected tools.
Right.
They're not cheap.
No, they
insulated
are not.
tools and shit. No.
10,000 volts, man.
Yeah, they are not cheap.
And DC.
But I will say this, EVs, I think about that like I think of everything else. Take alternative energy. Our solution is not in fossil fuels, and it's not in alternative energy. It's somewhere in the middle. And we got too many people that are taking sides.
Right.
And I think the same thing with vehicles. I mean, you're from South Dakota, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Have you been to Wyoming?
I grew up in Wyoming.
Okay. So Wyoming's biggest city is what? 250,000 or something?
I don't know where Laramie and Cheyenne are sitting.
Are you going to tell somebody in Wyoming that they got to drive an EV?
Yeah.
I mean, they want their autonomy.
Right. It's the distance between.
Yeah.
Right? Even if I go back home to see family, it's an 8-hour drive.
Yeah.
I ain't making that on any fucking EV.
No.
And then I'm going to sit there for 2 hours while it charges somewhere, probably 4 hours, because I ain't going to be able to get a supercharger.
Yes, yeah, if you're lucky to find a supercharger.
You know what I mean?
Every year, one of my sisters gets a cabin up in Ely, and she has it for a week. Anybody can come up and stuff. And my youngest brother had a Tesla. Well, 2 years in a row, he had to find a charging station. He couldn't make it all the way up there, so he ended up selling the Tesla. But as I said, I don't have a lot of experience working on them or anything. I think there's a place for them. I'm not so sure that the place is 2026. It might be a few more years down the road, because I can definitely see the benefit, just like with electric bikes. Cities, urban.
urban areas, it is much more common that, especially in a warm place, like you'll meet somebody from Texas or Florida or California where the weather is mostly warm in the southern parts the whole year. They don't have to factor in, well, you can run your heater or you can get to work and back.
Right.
People don't realize that.
I have a guy I work with. He might still be listening. Fucking Reese. He owns a Tesla, and he works construction. He works around here, and he's all like, yeah, flat out. He's like, in the wintertime, I lose 20 to 30% of my range. Plain and simple.
One of our sponsors and is donated to the show. Shout out Jesse. Works with me at my company. Mm-hmm. After our first time went off on a little rant negatively about EVs, he had already, or even after that, maybe had donated a little bit of bucks to the show. And he's like, hey man, I got one of those. Just tell John. Like, I was like, I felt real bad about it in the moment. Like, fuck. I took
a lot of heat, and I stand behind what I said. I don't fucking like them. I don't see the point in them. Like, I just don't. They're not the fix to anything.
Let's take a different perspective. Personally, my opinion is that EVs were brought out into the market in a very, very wrong way. Because the way and this is purely my perspective, the way I see it, it's almost like the government started talking about mandating things.
Absolutely.
Americans do not like to be told what to do.
Unless they live in California.
No.
And they're fine with it.
Well, yeah, because they're too busy doing other things, luxury beliefs.
Right. Luxury beliefs is the name of this episode. I'm writing that down.
Luxury beliefs.
But you take the EVs, and let's say they were presented in a different way, presented as an option, and presented as this is where it's advantageous, this is why it's advantageous, and then put on the market and let the people decide.
Right.
And keep the government, keep their fucking mitts out of it.
I heard it said once. I heard it. You're 100% right. Because we were told, yeah, this is happening. You have to do this, and we all just went, yeah, fuck off. But I heard it said once, and I don't remember where. This gentleman was saying, okay, so let's reverse the rules, right? Say we're all driving electric vehicles from the start, right? And then I bring this idea of this vehicle to you. Now it's going to be a combustion engine. It's going to have less torque. It's going to have less power. We're going to strap an explosive fuel tank underneath you, and so you haul it around with you. What do you think of that?
What's it sound like?
Yeah, it's going to be loud and
I
obnoxious.
Want to hear the exhaust.
Right? Yeah,
it's going to be loud,
but it offers you range.
But it offers you where does
it offers you 5-minute refueling versus hours.
But if we think in this aspect, if we're all driving EVs, we already figured out the range. We already figured out the charging situation, right?
So you're saying that the population of Montana is 0?
Yeah, pretty much. Right?
At that point, it would have been, yes.
Now, I will say this. If we take, and there's the problem, right? Our country is gigantic, right?
Yes.
So you take countries that are like China and Japan, they've got to figure it out where they pull their EVs into a bay and it auto swaps the battery out with a new one. They just keep driving.
Sure.
We can't do that here.
Do you know how many car companies are in China?
We haven't done that here.
And you'd have to have so many of them.
Right.
Well, the problem with it is, and neither one of you guys were here for it, but back in the 90s, we had emissions testing here in Minnesota.
They still do this where I'm from.
Okay.
You got to get your certification. You got to go and
It
get
was
your
a
tag.
fucking bullshit nightmare.
Yeah.
They built all these stations all across the state. And truth be told, this is the way we used to do it. Do you remember like Plymouth Horizons?
I do remember
Plymouth
Horizons.
Acclaims, that kind of stuff, all the 2.2s, 2.5s. Okay. Those cars could never pass emissions. So people would bring them to us. At the time, I worked for a drivability franchise. And those cars, most of them were carbureted. So we would adjust the cars so they ran like shit, but they could pass emissions.
Ran lean as hell.
We had 4 gas analyzers in the shop. And then we would take the car down, run it through the emissions, get the slip, bring it back, then tune the car so it would run right, and then give it back to the customer.
That's nuts.
I mean, it was bullshit. And now we have all these empty emissions stations all over the state. And that's one of the big problems I see with the EVs. When you talk about like ethanol, if ethanol is so great, why do we have to subsidize it? Right. And for EVs, why not let the private market determine charging stations? Why is the government going to provide them, except once again to push us in a direction that a lot of people either don't want to or aren't ready to go into?
And then you get into the politics of who owns the company, who's making money off the charging stations. And we've talked about it a million times. Where do you think that electricity is coming from?
Yeah.
Right.
It ain't the solar generator.
Yep. It's not wind farms.
Yeah. No, fuck no.
It's not.
You know?
Nuclear. We've said it a million times, folks.
Nuclear,
Don't be scared of nuclear. Nuclear is the way. We're
the
eventually
only
going
way
to
that's
figure it
gonna
out.
go.
Nuclear.
Well, yeah, somebody's going to. As I said earlier, the answer is in the middle.
Right.
It's that compromise. But we have too many people at both ends that are whack jobs.
Yep.
Yeah. When somebody has a personal, political, financial motivation or position on something, can you really believe what they're saying?
True that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So,
exactly.
so I got to tell you guys this one real quick. Not too long ago, I had a customer in the shop, and he was talking about how we should take all politicians and put a noose around them and hang them in the town square, and then put a sign around them saying why we were hanging them. And as he was saying that, another fellow walks into the shop, and he looks at him, and he says, "What the fuck do we need signs for?"
It's not true. I mean, there's the old joke, what do you call 30 politicians at the bottom of a pool? A great start.
Good start.
A great start. Yeah. Well, so it was a comedian that used to say it too, that politicians and diapers are identical and they all need to be changed for the exact same reason, repetitively.
I like that. I'd never heard that one before.
Well, politicians, that subject, that's kind of like a lot of other things. It's so deep, you could talk about that and never have a solution for 1,000 years.
Yeah, we'd just be talking in circles.
Okay,
Yeah.
By the time you come up with an answer, the situation would have changed and the answer isn't appropriate anymore.
Yep.
So,
Just like the EVs, by the time we figure it out, as long as they can go ahead and mandate it as long as in 2100.
No, I don't
in
want them
2100.
mandating anything.
Nope, 2100.
We're
all dead.
Let the market determine it.
yeah,
No.
we should do a whole episode on the word mandate because I hate that word.
No, fucking
when it comes to just about anything. I
if
hate.
I'm
Yeah.
in the fucking ground or if I'm in a little fucking can, I don't give a fuck what happens afterwards.
Which is weird because you say that with kids who will continue to live on, and I have the exact opposite opinion, and I have no kids to live on.
Yeah, but you know what? Why are you guys worried about your kids? Why not worried about what's going to happen to Keith Richards?
He's going to be alive.
Jesus.
Listen, we'll talk after the fact. I saw him in concert in New Brunswick, Canada, years and years and years ago. And this was years ago, and he still looked like a zombie. They literally wheeled him out. It should have been just a dolly, but
Yeah.
I digress.
He is fucking. He's embalmed himself in
Ancient, right?
like.
Let me switch a little tack here for you, Andy. And I got to say, I'm really enjoying this so far. Thanks for joining us today, man. This
This is
has
great.
been great.
This
yeah.
is great.
Is there a vehicle, and I wouldn't want to negatively affect your business. I hope people will, and we're going to let you shout out your business at the end if you're interested. Is there a vehicle, a type, a model, a brand that when you see that roll up, you just roll your eyes and go, fuck? Is there anything that's just a real drag to work on all around?
I wouldn't say that as much as I would say there's particular vehicles with particular jobs on them that you just look at them and you go, man, I just don't want to do this.
For example?
Great example. This kind of factored into my I'm not working on anything older than 20 years.
Sure.
Last November, I had a customer come in. He had had his truck at several different shops and nobody would take it on. And I had, over the years, I've done this job many, many, many times. I knew what it entailed. I knew what I was in for. And I said, well, okay, I don't normally do this, but I'll do it. But here's the deal. This is open-ended. It's going to cost what it costs because it's going to be a ton of labor. I spent the entire Thanksgiving weekend working on this truck. And it was a 97 F-150 that needed exhaust manifolds. That job was bad 10 years ago. After this last one, I will not do another one of those. No way, no how.
Just full hassle, huh?
Oh my God. I've got a lot of tools. And they don't make the tools that I could have used for that job.
Oh,
It was a nightmare. I mean, I'm not kidding. Except for Thanksgiving Day, I was there Friday, Saturday, Sunday working on this thing. Now, here's the upside. The guy who owns a truck, oh man, he's a great guy. Just awesome. He gave us a great Google review. He didn't give me a single piece of shit about the bill, and I think I was pretty fair with him. And he dropped me off a case of beer.
Yeah, there you go.
And then he brought his other cars in.
Yep.
But yeah, stuff like that. But for the most part, gone are the days where, 40 years ago, guys were Chevy, Mopar, Ford. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
Every car's a piece of shit today.
Yep.
My truck's a piece of shit. Because I don't care what the manufacturers say, there's no way they can duplicate real world wear on the vehicles.
Right.
And then, the people I'd most like to strangle are the engineers.
Oh, that's always, yeah, it always looks good on computer and paper. And then they put a fucking bolt where you can't actually get the goddamn thing back out to work on anything, right?
Yep.
Right.
Well, here's a good story about warranties, manufacturer warranties. So a lot of times they'll advertise vehicles as cheaper to own. Well, behind the scenes, I'll just give you an example of the kind of stuff that happens. So you get engineers, say take a transmission, for instance, and when they engineer the transmissions, they're going to factor into that engineering, obviously, the fluids that they use in the vehicle, okay? Because transmission has several attributes that it has to meet just as a baseline foundation, like swinging a golf club.
Yep.
So they will design this transmission, and they'll determine what fluid needs to go into it, and they'll say something like, okay, but to make this transmission last, this fluid needs to be replaced every 30,000 miles. Well, then the manufacturer bean counters, they say, well, fuck that. We need to get this out of warranty. So put a synthetic fluid in it and make it 80,000. And then a customer comes in, they won't service their transmission when I know if you don't service it, you're going to have problems because that's not what the manufacturer says.
Right.
And they do this stuff all the time. Manufacturers will get more concerned with the nanoseconds between a 1-2 shift than they will about making a vehicle more dependable,
right,
or reliable. It's all money.
So when we talk about transmissions, why the fuck did they go to sealed transmissions?
Because too many people fuck around with their own cars.
Oh, come on, really?
Yes.
That makes sense, actually.
I could tell you stories, man.
It's like, that just fucked up things. You know what I mean? Like, you can't monitor anything. You're just praying for the best. And
I've got 3 brothers-in-law that if any one of them grab a screwdriver, I smash their hand with a hammer and say, don't ever do that again.
Keep your pecker touchers off my tools.
That's fair enough, yeah.
You know what? There's a ton of stuff out there in the world that I know absolutely nothing about, and I stay away from it. Okay, I'll do the P-trap underneath my kitchen sink, but I stop when the plumbing hits the wall. A man has to know his own limitations.
Copy that.
And there's too many people out there that cars built today are not made for do-it-yourselfers. They're really not.
No, they're no. I mean, you can just open the hood and find that out. Just take a look at it once. See if you could tell anything.
A couple of quick ones for you. Years ago, when I was at a shop, a drivability shop, there was an older fella there, and he was probably in his late 50s. This was probably his last stop. And he pulled a Subaru in one day to work on it. He opened the hood. He saw the spare tire. He shut the hood. He said, fuck that, I quit. I'm not working with anything with a spare tire under the hood.
That's funny.
So then I was, for a while, just not too far from where you live, I was a service manager at a store over here, big store. And I got called to a customer's house because their car didn't start. And they were a regular customer. And apparently he decided to check his own oil. And when I got there, there was oil everywhere, just everywhere. You ever dump out a quart of automotive oil?
Yeah.
It spreads. I mean, it takes up a big area. Well, this guy really didn't have a clue, and he just filled it up until it started coming out of the oil fill.
Oh, fucking Christ.
He had 3 cases of oil in this car.
Ooh.
This is why the manufacturers do stuff like eliminate dipsticks. You know, there's many cars out there now, you have to check a fluid level with a scan tool. Or they got just a plug, and you go on the tool truck, you buy a universal dipstick with different marks on it, and you use that. Because for my money, nobody should be able to buy Freon over the counter. That's just a bad thing.
Yeah.
Well, one thing is it ruins shops' AC machines because all that Freon over the counter has stop leak in it. that stuff turns to cement.
Right.
Put it in a $10,000 machine, that's going to wreck the machine.
Right.
Things like that. I don't think people should be allowed to buy their own brakes. That's a hazard. I mean, it's bad enough that we don't have safety inspections, and all the vehicles I've seen drive off where there's nothing but fins showing at the rotors. The whole face is gone.
It's always made me, not crazy is the wrong word, but sort of flabbergasted that they don't have safety inspections here anymore.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Back in the day, did I know a guy who ran a couple of different garages where I could go in, pay him $50, and he'd give me a safety inspection
Yeah.
without looking under the hood?
I lived
sure
in
there
Texas.
was. Yeah, sure there was, right? Like, yeah, that used to happen. But yeah, when I got here and I got my first, like used vehicle, and I was looking like, okay, so when's the safety inspection up? And my brother-in-law looked at me and went, we don't do that here anymore. As if I was crazy. I'm like, no, the annual to make sure that you're okay to drive. He's like, yeah. We don't do that anymore. Stop saying that. Like, oh.
Yeah, don't give anybody any ideas.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you quick, you've had a lot of years of experience. I'm going to give you an example of something that I did as just like an unknowledgeable gearhead at all, okay? As I mentioned earlier, my wife is hearing impaired, so in our old home, I wouldn't be able to hear her pull into the garage. There was a separation from the house. I had one of my neighbors come over, and he was nice enough to go, hey, listen, I think there's something the matter with your wife's car. Oh, okay. I go out, I start the car up, and I can tell immediately there's something seriously wrong. I asked my wife, like, hey, when's the last time you changed the oil? Oh, it's been a while. I'm like, okay, problem. I get the owner's manual from the local shop. I look it up. Okay, here's how you do it. I drain out the oil, fill it back up, and it fills up immediately. I'm like, wow, I expected it was going to take more oil. I had 4 or 5 quarts, and it took 1.5. I'm like, great. Go to start the car up. Rolls out into the street. I had drained the transmission fluid out of the damn thing. Now I know the color difference. At the time, I was uneducated and inexperienced. I didn't know that that's not how oil was supposed to look like. When you were learning as a younger person, did you ever make any like little funny, stupid, silly mistakes that you look back now going, oh, well, it is what it is?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I my first job at Sears, I think within the first 6 months, I had double gasketed an oil filter on a Crown Victoria. Car went down the road, and it didn't leak initially. Car went down the road, started leaking when the guy was driving it.
Yeah.
As soon as everything got revved up, yeah.
At that time, I was just a young kid. And back then, us kids were still afraid of adults, So I was just shaking in my boots. I thought I was going to get fired. But I had another one later on in my career, too. I was working for an independent. The people I worked for were great. The old owner and I are still really good friends. But we had this account where we had 3/4 ton and 1 ton vans for an HVAC company. And those guys just beat the shit out of those vans.
Yep.
But anyway, I was doing some rear axle seals on it. And to do them in those vans back then, you had to take apart the differential in the rear so you get the washers out and stuff. Well, anyway, I got done with the job, and I took it, test drove it, went 6 blocks, whatever, brought it back, and it was making some kind of weird noise. So I asked my boss, I said, hey, can you take this for a quick ride, see what you get? Well, he takes off. About 45 minutes later, he comes walking back. I forgot to put fluid in the rear end. I locked up the entire rear end.
Oh, no.
Well, here's the best part of that story. And I think this is how you can tell a technician that really cares about what they were doing. Man, I walked around with a black cloud over me for at least a week. I felt so bad about that. But my boss came to me and he said, all right, here's the deal. I'll pay for the parts, but you're going to put them in on your own time. And I said, okay, that's fair. That's fine. So then I stayed late after work one night to put the whole rear end in, all the gears and everything. And his wife was up front in the office doing books. And it was about 11:30, and there's a pinion bolt on the side of those, and I had my wrench on there to tighten the pinion bolt. My wrench slipped, and I caught my wrist right on the edge of the differential, and they're sharp. Ripped it wide open. Immediately, whole arm just bleeding down my arm. She had to take me to the emergency room. I had to get stitched up, everything. What a nightmare that one was.
And then had to turn around and go back and finish the job.
I did, too.
Yeah, you have to.
I did. Well, the when I first bought my shop, When I bought it, I was there by myself. I didn't employ anyone. My father did my books for me for about 16 years. He retired 2 years before he died. But so I'm in there, and I was doing some exhaust work for another shop, and they had supplied a muffler for this older Dodge truck. So I pulled the muffler out of the front seat, and I flipped the box up to look at the size of the muffler, the measurements. Muffler slips out. The nipple of the muffler caught my big toe, right where the nail meets the skin at the cuticle. My shoe turned instantly red. This is no bullshit. I didn't take that shoe off for 3 days because it hurt so bad. And I had to work. I didn't have a choice. And I mean, now you can't even tell I ever lost the nail, but you want to talk about just something being fucked up where you just didn't have a choice. So, yeah, I slept with that shoe on.
Yeah, that's rough. Somebody had asked me recently about, like, what's the real difference between being an electrician versus being, say, like in another industry, HVAC, plumbing, things like that. And I said, you get injured and you likely get stitches. I might get injured and get stitches, or I might get injured and get the paddles.
Yeah.
And die.
From the EMT if they get there on time.
Yep.
That's the difference. Like,
Yep. So I want to ask you guys something.
Yeah, please.
You know, I do a lot of my own surface electrical work at my house or at the shop or whatnot because it's electrical, you know.
You're well within your rights in Minnesota to do that.
I know where to stop, you know. But there's a lot of people I know that they're just scared to death to even replace a light switch or anything. So how did you guys get to the point where you understood that, you know what, as long as you verify that the power's off, you're good. Just go to work.
Because you don't ever think that way. You treat everything as it's hot. Everything.
Yeah, even if I turned it off.
Yeah.
If I pulled the meter on the house, if I turned off the main service to a building, I know it's dead. I verified that. You still pretend like everything can kill you.
At every point you're working on.
At every point. You wire nut off wires that you know are dead.
Yep.
Yeah, you always consider everything live. Everything could kill you. It's the only way to do it.
Yep. Because there's always the chance of the dumbass that's not you, that either you're working with or that you're working for as the homeowner, to turn shit back on.
Sure.
Right in the middle of working on it.
Or to get in the middle of something you were working on.
Or bump into you when you're on a ladder, or say something to you to spook you when you weren't expecting them to be there, or whatever. Yeah, you have to plan for the worst all the time in the hopes that it doesn't go bad. That's all you can do.
That makes a lot of sense. I guess I've always just, once I've turned my breakers off or something and I'm working at my house by myself, I'm not worried about somebody else doing something stupid.
Right.
But I do double, triple, quadruple check everything.
Hey, no, even in my own home, I will, if I'm doing something electrical, I will remind my missus, she would never go screw back in a fuse or turn a breaker on. Never, ever. But I still mention it because that's what you have to do. You got to
it's
make
always
every protection.
leave it alone.
Yeah. Yeah, every protection possible, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because what I always tell guys is 24 volts, you don't really feel it, right? 120 tickles, 240 hertz, 277, you're going to the hospital. If you're
lucky.
If you get hit, if you get shocked in any way, shape, or form by 277, you have to go to the hospital because it will and it can put your heart into arrhythmia. And then guys that die from hitting 277, which is a commercial voltage, guys die from it when they go to sleep because your heart slows down.
Oh, sure.
And then it stops because it's out of rhythm.
Medically, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, you thought you got juiced, but you're okay. John said it perfectly.
Yep.
And here's the thing that I tell a lot of people. I mean, the people who are fearful to do their own basic things at home, I get calls from friends. They're changing out a light fixture, a ceiling fan.
Sure.
I'm like, listen, if you turn the switch off and you know nobody's going to turn the switch on, you're safe to change that out. Don't worry about it. If you're worried, wear gloves. You'll be fine.
Yep.
But once you turn the switch off, you're good. They're still leery. Look, I'll come over and throw your ceiling fan up.
Sure.
For you, right? I appreciate that hesitance because if you're not confident, this is not an industry to do anything
Right.
where you're leery. But when the people say, oh, well, I do all my own, yeah, it's nothing to change out a receptacle. Great. That little jolt that you get, that tickle off just a regular 120 receptacle.
Yep.
yes, you'll survive it, but you only get so many of those before your heart just goes, I'm out.
Right, because it's going to wear it down.
And you don't know how many that is. It's based on your physiology and salt and minerals in your body. You might be able to get that 1,000 times or 20. That's what worries me about people doing their own home electrical. Just shut it off.
Yep.
Don't do it live. Just go turn the breaker off, pull the fuse. You know what I mean? It turns off my AC and the kid's on his TV. Then tell the kid to go outside and fuck the hell off. Turn it off. Make yourself safe. It's real easy, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I understand people not wanting to pay a couple $100 to have somebody come in and change out a light fixture. I understand it. I really do. But, I mean, come on now. Let's be honest.
I just, for everything, I mean, even light fixtures, I don't just shut off the switch. I go to the source.
Yeah.
I go right to my box.
It's a smarter
and I
way
disable it. And, I mean, admittedly, my house right now, I still have fuses. But
Me too.
I will... I mean, of course, I'll take out the fuse, but even at the shop, I'll take out circuit breakers. So I know that circuit's dead. That's, well, the thing is it's no different than cars and putting a car up on a lift. I'm not going to lift a car if the safety locks don't work.
It makes sense.
That's not going to happen. Because I saw one video years ago of a guy that a car fell off the hoist and fell on him. I have never watched another one. I can't.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, what you guys do is extremely dangerous. What I do can be extremely dangerous.
Absolutely.
I've seen guys lose coil springs in a compressor.
Oh, you mean the grenades?
A coil spring letting loose in a compressor, that thing will go 2 blocks.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll launch for sure. There's no doubt about it.
It'll fucking crush you.
Yeah.
If it hits you.
I watched one guy open a hot radiator cap. He never grew hair on his face again right here.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of funny. You say things that go wrong, and especially on vehicles. I mean, fuck, man. 1970s, the owner's manual showed you how to adjust the valves.
Right.
And now it's telling you not to drink the contents of the fucking battery.
Well, that's just a reflection on the
society.
dumbing down of society, you know, like blow dryers and stuff. Do not use while sleeping. And, you know,
right.
I just
don't use while taking showers.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots.
It's the world we're living in, folks. What are you going to do?
So have you noticed, I mean, a while back you mentioned reviews. You know, a gentleman was nice enough to give you a good review. Have you actually noticed in your business whether that the reviews help or hurt you?
They help. They help. I ask everyone who comes in. If I don't know them personally, I mean, being in the same spot in 20 years, and just for transparency's sake, the shop I worked at before I bought my shop was about 1.5 miles from me. And I was there for almost 7 years. So the people that come into my shop, they're not my clients. They're my friends.
Sure.
So I know them. But when somebody comes in that I don't know, I always ask them, how did you hear of us? You know, what made you choose us? The reviews are huge. And I do my best to answer reviews. And I don't mind negative reviews. Those are opportunities. I'm human. I make mistakes. Everybody does.
Absolutely.
But the proof is in how you handle your mistakes, how you handle your client and things. But yeah, reviews are huge.
Have you ever had a review that was just, it went sideways, but the work that you did, like you tried to take care of it the best you can, you actually ended up fixing it, and then people were just still bitchy?
I really, honestly, I don't have a lot of negative reviews. I know I'm in the low hundreds. Fuck you, John. How long is the doctor going to make you wear those shoes?
Right.
Forever.
But I know I'm in the low hundreds for reviews, and I think my rating is like 4.6 or 4.7.
That's
which
fantastic.
I'll take that any day of the week. Any business that has 5.0 are full of shit.
Yeah, they're bought usually.
Yeah, that's bots.
Yeah, but I have had a couple reviews over the years that what the consumer stated was complete bullshit. Yeah. And those reviews, I would like to think that I'm somewhat smart and intelligent, and I reply to those reviews in such a way to make them look like the fucking idiot they really are.
Yep.
and very nice and polite. I mean, I can tell you to fuck off and you say thank you on your way
I'll
out.
enjoy the ride.
Yeah. And to
That's
be
PR
honest
skills.
with you, I have thrown customers out of my shop. I've told them, get the fuck out of here. I'm not working on your shit ever again.
You have the right to. That's your shop.
I had a guy 2 years ago. I went down to his house. I sat in the middle of the street because I caught him going inside the house, and I was at top of my lungs yelling at him. He was in the shop. He didn't want to pay a bill for time, and he started calling us racist, started calling us homophobes, started calling us all kinds of names. I wasn't there when this happened, but my guys told me about it. I went right to the guy's house right then and there. I don't care. You don't treat people like that.
No, fuck no.
If you got a problem, you address the problem. And when you're on the consumer side, why do consumers address problems with business? Because there's a certain amount of obligation for the people on the business side to be polite, right? To try and help you. And it's like when somebody comes into my shop and complains about another shop. The first thing I tell them to do is, especially if it's a shop in the area, I know all the owners. So I'll say, go talk to him. He's a great guy. Try and work it out with him. I'm not going to bite on that negative stuff.
Yeah. Most of the time I notice when people call to bitch and moan about something, the minute they actually are faced with the person that they're bitching and moaning about, argument stops.
A lot of times, yeah.
Because that used to be the company policy with the outfit I worked for back home, that if a customer called and had a complaint about the work that I did in their home, they were calling me. The office would forward that call instantly to my cell phone. Wouldn't even give the customer the option. Be like, we're going to forward you real quick. Hang on. And it'd ring my cell phone.
Yep.
And then I'd talk to them and they'd be confronted with me and they'd instantly stop screaming.
Yeah. Yep.
And be like, okay, hey, what was the problem? What could I have done better? Or what were you expecting for me to do that I didn't do? And then, if it's justifiable, I'll be right over. Give me 10 minutes. I'll come and fix it. I'll take care of it. And then it's done. But people sometimes just like to call and bitch.
Yeah.
They want to bitch.
I found over the years the two major issues with people doing that. The first one is communication, especially when you're dealing with vehicles. I operate in a way different reality than what most consumers of automotive service operate in. My job, like I said, I'm in the people business. My job is to educate them and to take their hand and slowly pull them out of their reality and into mine so that they understand. Because if we can't establish what truth is with the work that I'm doing, the real truth, then we're not going to get anywhere. So we have to have clear communication. It has to be understood both ways. The second thing that I found most common, and this is again why I say I'm in the people business, it usually, when people are upset, it has nothing to do with their car. It's because they've got something else going on.
Yeah, it's usually it.
And when you can be calm and solve this problem for them, one of my lines with a lot of people is, hey, I'm like Allstate, man. You're in good hands. I got this.
Right.
They need to have that taken off of their shoulders.
Right.
It's not their car that they're angry about or they're upset about. It's something else.
Usually.
And it's all people.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I noticed when I first moved into service that sometimes people would have multiple issues at their site and then would complain or be upset after the fact because everything wasn't done. And I learned real quick to just say at the very end, questions, comments, concerns.
Yes.
Because I fixed problem A, and that's what you called us about. You remembered after I left that you were supposed to bring up problems B or B and C, and you didn't mention now you're complaining because that's not where I wasn't there for that and you didn't bring it up.
Right.
Sometimes it's that they're embarrassed that they didn't mention it or now they have to call again. Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just something simple as that of going, hey, is there anything else that was worrying you? Is there something else that's acting funky? We can take care of you. I'm already here. But yeah, that you say the communication of just tell me all the problems and I'll let you know if I can actually fix them. Like,
Right.
Oh, you don't have enough customers? I wish I could help you with that.
Right.
But I'm here for the electrical switch that wasn't working. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. The only problem with you guys is you guys are fucking slobs.
Fuck.
I mean, you
all
guys
the way
get
off.
done working
Way
and there is
off.
shit everywhere.
You should
You're
find
dealing
a
with
different fucking electrician.
Then you got to get a better electrician. Yeah.
I'm still picking up little shit I find every so often in a nook and cranny from lights I had installed.
That's
years
because you
ago.
didn't
Did you
pick him
wanna
up
pay-
the first time.
Did you want to pay that guy for that? No. You want to pay him to get the lights running, cleaning up. Yeah.
That's a laborer's job.
Yeah. It's,
Okay, next time Jason brings a vehicle in, I'm going to leave a big grease print somewhere and tell him, well, you didn't pay me to clean.
Hey, listen. Fuck Fury Dodge off of is it Concordia?
494 in Concord.
Listen, I've had some good experiences, bad experiences with them. Fuck those guys. They changed my oil a while back, and on my little center console thing, there was a great big fucking oil handprint. I walked back in to ask the guy, like, hey, man, what are we doing about that? He's like, well, that's not from us.
Wow.
Do you think I've been
Wow.
driving around with that on?
Right.
And your guy just changed. Shut the fuck. Go clean that.
Yep.
Go clean that
Now,
off
see,
my car.
that's one as a consumer, I would have been online making a comment about that. And I'm not a guy who does that because that response for a guy that could have walked in the back, got some simple green or something in a rag and taken care of it for you and apologized
Right.
Right.
to talk to you like that. Oh, I would have said something because one of my goals when I work on your car is if you open the hood, you never know I was there.
Right.
A customer, you could do $1,000 free work for somebody, fix their car, thing runs great. But if they got a white car and you leave fingerprints on their door, that's what they're going to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely.
I appreciate the review system online now when I'm going to buy something or patronize a business.
Sure.
I like being able to see that. But personally, I give in-person reviews. I'm going to walk back in your business and say, what the fuck? Or, hey, you guys did a great job. Thank you. I give it both ways. If it's great, I'll tell them, hey, this was fantastic. If it's awful, I'm going to tell you that in person. I want to look you in the eye and make you look me in the eye.
So it was the first time that I had this happen. So last year we had the hailstorm come through where I'm at, and it hailed out my wife's brand new Subaru. Literally, we bought it in November, brand new. It had 700 miles on it and got hailed on, right? And so we waited. I waited till the local shops got wound down, because everybody was calling it hail damage, right? I'm like, we got time. The insurance, we got to a year. You have a year to claim and fix it. So we recently got it fixed. I took it to a shop that was in town there, not expecting it. They take it. They're all like, hey, we're
Quick
going to
question, John. What year is a Subaru?
It's a 2025.
Okay.
Right. And sorry, 2024. They didn't have the 25s when we got it. But we were sitting there and it's the Wilderness Package Crosstrek. It's really nice.
Those are nice vehicles.
I
actually.
like the car.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. But they're like, yeah, we're going to have it for a week. We're going to finish, do all the hail damage. They had it for 2 days. They were done. And when we got it back, and I'm pretty picky. I'll start looking at it every angle. I'll turn on the lights in the garage, make sure there's lots of light. I'll, see if they miss some, stuff like that. It's the first time not a single one missed. And they detailed the entire car. What? Well, I opened up the door and it was spotless. And everything that, Remy's little toys, our puppy toys that were in the back seat, were all in a nice little red bag, sitting on the floor, completely vacuumed, completely sparkling clean. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like,
the customer experience.
yeah. It's like, holy fuck.
It is nice when you get that good experience at the end of the day.
Yep.
So before we go to a couple of sort of end questions here, couple of quick things. You showed up here with a Denver Broncos hat. God love you. There's not many of us in this area that are Denver Broncos fans. It made me feel real comfortable with you immediately. I liked you when we had originally met and talked in the chili feed, so this worked out well. Before we get too crazy far here, I just want to remind everybody, you can check out everything that is the ISOP podcast at isopodcast.com. There you'll find our socials, the Buy Us a Beer tab if you want to support the show.
Like Andy.
And the
Thank
Be
you,
a Guest
sir.
tab if you'd like to show up for a future recording, like Andy. It's an easy process, yeah?
Yes,
Nothing,
yes, it
nothing
is.
crazy, right? You can also reach out with feedback for episodes at 507-607-ISOP. That's 507-607-4729. You can leave a message, maybe be featured on a future episode. What I wanted to ask you was, if if they make the AI robots tomorrow that can do all the mechanical work on vehicles, they can take your technician job away. Is there a career that would interest you that this is where I would want to go? They just tell you, sorry, we've got technician mechanic robots. They're ready to go. They're $100 a piece. Everybody's going to use them. Is there something that interests you that you would like to move over to?
I'd go to Walgreens and sort pills.
You'd go to Walgreens, fair enough. Okay, so go to something easy.
No.
My kid just put in her 2 weeks notice there. You don't want to do that.
No. One thing, and I'm not very good at it at all, but I really like doing woodwork.
Okay.
Ah,
I
there you go.
like trying to not being a carpenter, but being a woodworker. I really enjoy that. It's very therapeutic for me. It my career is stressful, very stressful, but yeah. And like I said, I'm not good at it, but I enjoy it, and that's something I would love to do. And nice. There was a period of time I built coffins, Halloween coffins, and sold them.
We're going to talk after the fact. I want one for my yard for Halloween. I'm a big Halloween guy.
Okay.
That's good. So
That's funny.
I know there was one more thing John had, but I got to circle back here before we start to wrap up this. All right. You were talking about movies, great movies. You talked about Miracle. The Canadians beat that team in the Summit Series a few years before. That team wasn't undefeated. It wasn't a fucking miracle. Fuck Herb Brooks.
It was a miracle.
Ouch.
And
It was a miracle the States beat them.
I'm going to learn you why.
Please.
First of all, that team, number one, was comprised of true amateurs. Number two, they were not the best amateur players in this country.
No, they were the best to make that team.
Right.
I agree with that.
Herb Brooks put that team together like Belichick put together New England teams. Like Belichick would go out and look for a tight end that could block. He didn't give a shit if he could catch the ball.
Right.
Okay? And that's how Brooks did it. Not to mention Brooks' style of coaching for America, it was ahead of its time. It was a hybrid style, and it was beautiful. I mean, yeah, I was pretty young back then, but looking back on it, and being a Minnesota kid, I mean, I went to Herb Brooks hockey schools and stuff. My mother used to teach his son in high school. My oldest one played for his son on a hockey team.
Wow.
But and Kurt Russell nailed it.
I will say,
he did.
I will say the movie itself is extremely inspirational, and Kurt Russell killed it. Absolutely.
He did.
But the story, the story is just not true.
The big thing was the beating of the Russians.
Right.
Because they really were our nemesis. And those Russians were professional players. Those guys
Their
were
whole
not,
life.
they were not newbies or anything like that. Matter of fact, a lot of those guys from that original 80 team, over the years, they became really good friends with the guys from the Russian team.
I would certainly hope so.
Yeah.
Yes.
A guy I golf with here and there actually played on the 1980 Olympic team.
Oh, wow.
And in that Olympics, he scored 7 goals, and he scored the first goal against the Russians, Buzzy Schneider.
Oh, wow. Okay. Just shout out Buzzy Snyder. Hockey
And,
legend. Hockey legend.
Oh, Buzzy's great.
Yeah, hockey legend,
He's
Buzzy Snyder.
awesome. And as a matter of fact, in the movie, the guy who played Buzzy Schneider was Buzzy's son, Billy.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's good.
And I had talked to you guys earlier about my friend who died last summer. I met Buzzy through that friend because Buzzy's son is married to that friend's daughter.
6 degrees of separation. I
And
love it.
as a result, about a month and a half ago, I actually worked on Billy's truck and did a bunch of stuff. But yeah, Buzzy's a great guy. But that team really was a miracle because I don't think people would have accepted a bet on that team back then to beat the Russians. And it wasn't the movie and the miracle did not pertain to the Olympics. It pertained to that game.
Could I get you to, for posterity
not.
here, could I get you to agree that it was a miracle that those players as amateurs beat the professional Russians, and it wasn't that the Russians got beat because that team had been beaten by the Canadians?
Correct.
That's all
Correct.
I'm asking for. I'm gonna say
that
it
was
once.
went a long fucking way just for that.
Now you can get the
Jesus.
fuck out.
It's all okay. Get the fuck
Out.
out.
So
A boat.
you mentioned to Jason, you actually hire. I'm pulling us away from that conversation.
Yeah.
You finally hired a new guy. You had a guy that worked for you for 8 years and just fucking left.
Yeah.
Just skated.
Yeah.
By the way, you're a dick. You just fucking skated. Anyway, you hired a new guy.
Yep.
I hear he's as fucking redneck as they get.
Oh my God.
Let's talk about this for a minute.
You made a reference to a previous episode and said he's this close to squirrel fishing.
And there is nothing wrong with that because, frankly, I mean, rednecks make some great fucking technicians.
Oh, he is. So picture this. He's about 6'4", 6'3", maybe, and he's probably, I want to guess, maybe 230, 240.
Okay.
Red hair, and it's cut like yours.
So he's balding.
So he's balding.
He does not have an inside voice.
No.
And the guy, he's very much an extrovert. He kind of no filter when he talks.
My people. Nice.
And,
Okay.
and he can fix the hell out of anything. He raced motorcycles for a long time. And at his size, it was like watching an elephant fuck a football.
Yeah, that's a
mean,
lot
really,
for
it's
a
a big kid.
motorcycle
Yeah,
to be
it's a
fucking
big
ripping
kid.
around on.
Yeah.
He actually worked for me 15 years ago. He's the only guy out of my entire career that I ever hired that came out of Bobby and Steve's, because I won't hire techs that have worked there because Bobby and Steve's burns them out.
Yeah.
They're really cutthroat.
Look, there's one great thing at Bobby and Steve's. It's the cheeseburgers and a little hot food. line.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with
No,
cars.
that's the only great thing about Bobby and Steve's.
And I'm not saying anything bad about their system, but you know what? Workhorse technicians, the guys, and I used to be one of these guys who can work 40, 50 hours a week and bang out 60, 70, 80 hours in labor. They're like NFL running backs. They got a really short lifespan.
Yeah. You almost
And-
have to force them to take days off.
Well,
Like,
you're putting them in a position where it's feast or famine.
yeah,
And that breeds a cutthroat atmosphere.
sure.
And it does something to you. It really does. It screws you up. But Bill, when he first came in all those years ago and we talked, it was just, we clicked. And he didn't work for me for very long, but over the years after he left, we stayed really close friends. And I've had a hell of a last 7 months or so, and we were talking over the winter, and he's been wanting to kind of work his way out of the industry. He's got something really cool planned. I'll tell you guys about it later on.
Nice.
But and along the way out, what he wants to do is mentor one or two younger guys, so that when he's done, he's leaving some really good techs.
Which
That's
is
fucking
the whole
hard, man.
idea of the
Yes.
trades, folks.
God, that's
Listen
so
to
hard.
Andy. It's the whole idea of the trades. Teach the next generation.
The guy who left me, when he came to work for me, he barely knew how to change oil. And he left there, regardless of the way he left, he had skills that he learned at that shop because
Well, he better have.
we all taught him, and he's a solid technician. I can't take that away from him. And I will never say anything bad about anybody leaving. I did the same thing. But you don't get to leave on a Saturday morning and say, I'm not giving you notice.
Yeah. No, that's the shitty
That's
part.
that
Unless-
really turned my world upside down.
You can be a good employee. Don't leave somebody in a lurch.
Right.
Give a fair amount of notice situationally.
I will say the only time that you're allowed to actually do that is if it's a super shitty place that you're working.
Right.
And they are treating you like dog shit.
But usually you're not going to wait 8 years.
Yeah, no.
Things
Unless
couldn't have been that bad.
Yeah, unless new management comes in and then they're all
Yeah.
it's like fuck. Yeah. Out.
Right.
So when that happened, I just took a new perspective. I was really unsure of myself at that time. I didn't know that I could go back in and do it again because I had been kind of pulled back for a couple of years.
Been running the business.
Well, to be honest with you, I was a shitty owner. I did my own stuff. I went on motorcycle trips. I went to Ireland. I went to the Boundary Waters, and I came in and paid bills and did paychecks and stuff. And I gave out raises. And I always offered, do you need me today? Do you need me to do this, do that? But I wasn't paying attention like I should have been. So a lot of this falls on me. And it was hard at first. Saturday morning, all of a sudden I know I got to go in there Monday. I'm full time and I'm alone. And it was great to give me confidence back, knowing that I hadn't lost a lot of it.
Sure.
But also, I decided to do things differently. That's where I came up with I don't want to work on anything older than 20 years. I've been slowly but surely updating the interior of the shop all by myself. I'm taking the shop in a different direction. I changed a lot of things as to how we will service cars.
Yeah, you sent me some great photos this week.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we know we're going to use them on social media. I appreciated that, yeah.
Only if you send them to me or Ashley.
I still do a little bit of it.
And I still got a ways to go on that kind of stuff. I got rid of a lot of old stuff and replaced it with new stuff. I'm just moving forward. I'm trying to do everything in a different direction, and it's really given me new motivation. And I've always loved working on cars. I just didn't care for a lot of the stuff that came with it, and I've changed my perspective.
Good.
Bring it on. Let's do this. It's going to be great. And if I'm only there another 5 years and I decide to retire or whatnot, or something happens, so be it. But every day between now and then, life isn't that bad.
That's right.
No.
That's right.
No.
I know John's got sort of a final thought question here for you, but
Yeah.
before that, I just want to say, for the people listening, what you're saying is perfect. Accountability, that you weren't handling the business in the way that you thought you should, and you've now learned from that. Learn from your mistakes, folks. You're going to make them in business.
Own your own shit.
Yeah, own it.
Sure.
When you make a mistake, learn from it, move forward. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to fuck up sometimes. Just learn from people who have been in the business for a long time. Before we get close to the end here, I did want to give you a quick recommendation, and everybody listening. You said you're an avid reader.
Yes.
Check out something I listened to recently, and it's the second time I went through it because I enjoyed it so much the first time. Coyote America by a gentleman named Dan Flores.
I'll have to write that down.
I'll get it to you before you go. Anybody listen, check out Coyote America by Dan Flores. It's about the wolves and the coyotes and their dissemination throughout the United States and what happened with the coyote population and the wolf population. It's an excellent read.
They fucked up the wolf population in Minnesota.
Right, and it's about, part of it is in with that, but it's nationwide, and how coyotes went in a different way just naturally. It's a very interesting read. I can't recommend it enough. So, side note there, folks.
I can't help but at the minute that you said coyote, I'm all like, not Coyote Ugly. Come on now.
Not Coyote Ugly,
Great movie.
although
Not bad movie.
Old
Did
movie,
you just
not a
say
bad
great movie?
Not a bad movie.
Not a bad movie.
Man, I thought John was cool.
I am.
If you take it for what it's worth, that's a bunch of
Pretty
pretty ladies back in the day.
Yeah, you don't look very deep at it. You look very surface level guy.
I guess it's just been too long since I've watched it. The one time I almost made it through it.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty girls dancing on a bar.
Yeah, you take it for what it's worth. Yeah, low budget entertainment of, it's pretty girls dancing on the bar.
That's,
for sure.
I'm thinking take it what it's worth. I'm more in the vein of Slapshot,
I can't disagree with that.
That's funny.
I can't disagree with that.
So we're all about, Jason and I kind of started this thing thinking, how do we help get information to the younger generation coming up, get them into the trades, get them into the skilled trades. What would be the thing that you tell the younger generation coming into being a mechanic and being into your trade? What's the piece of advice that you could really dial in for them?
I'm really glad you asked that. Along with the vehicle technology changing, employment has changed. Positions have changed. I recently, about a year and a half ago, I closed on Saturdays. And I was open when I opened the shop, I was open from 7 to 6 Monday through Friday, 7 to 2 on Saturdays. Then I eventually, after 15 years or so, I went to 8 to 6 and 8 to 2 on Saturdays. Then I closed Saturdays. I just changed the hours again. I'm open from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, or Monday through Thursday. I close at 4:30 on Fridays. It's too hard to be open all those hours and work those hours. When I was younger, the typical work week was minimum 50 hours. Those days are gone. To attract better help, better technicians, There's a rash of shops in the country going to 4-day weeks. They're only open Monday through Thursday. But unlike when I was a kid where you didn't have benefits, you didn't have personal time off, you didn't have vacation, hospitalization, if you were in a shop that offered it, you paid most of it. Those days are changing. Owners now are pushing training. They're paying for it. They're doing it during the day and paying you for it. They're going to less hours. They're going to better working conditions. And believe it or not, it's not unheard of for technicians to make $150,000 a year. You will earn it. There's no question about it. But it's there for the taking. And it's gotten to a point where even I'm setting up a toolbox for my next entry-level technician, where he's not going to have to come in and drop his everything on new tools like we had to do. There's going to be a toolbox waiting for him to use, full of tools. And there'll be options to buy it, whatever, different stuff going down the road. I am currently looking for Bill right now for retirement stuff. We're catching up with your guys' stuff in a lot of ways, because one of the ways we've fallen behind is by not being unionized, which for me, for my industry, I don't want to be unionized.
Sure.
I want the free market to work itself. But it's a great career. I mean, geez, almost 40 years and I'm doing okay. I got a few bucks in the bank. I'm okay for retirement, and it's very rewarding. I can do things with my hands that 95% of the population cannot do. And nothing against any of the other trades, but I have so many skills that transfer over, whereas those trades don't necessarily have skills that transfer over to mine.
Yep.
And it's fantastic. I mean, shit, I can fix almost anything. I just got to get it apart and figure out how it works.
Right.
That
goddamn DC voltage.
It's fucking
Fucks
bullshit.
me up every time.
Bad fucking ground somewhere and makes
well,
shit
you
do
guys
stupid
don't have
things.
to deal with diodes all the time either, do you?
No,
not
really.
I do a little more than the average electrician running
But
service.
so you understand
but
how
not
that
much,
stuff
but not
can,
much. My theory behind it is a little better than most, but yeah.
And I will say this: if for younger guys, college isn't for everybody. I went to college. I was a double major in mathematics and music, and it doesn't always work for everybody. But there's nothing wrong with working with your hands. You want to talk about coming home after you worked in 90-degree heat and busting your ass all day and knowing that you put in a good day's worth of work.
Yeah,
you guys
earned
know
your
how
money.
that feels. You come home and you have that can of Coke, that can of beer, whatever you're going to have, and you sleep great, and you know it. And yeah, it's like everything else. Not every day is perfect, But it's a great career. It's rewarding, and we're pretty much at the point where the solid technicians who know their shit, they kind of named their price where they're going. And the last thing I can leave with that is I've been trying to get younger guys to do this for years. Know your electrical, because I don't care what happens in the future on cars with technology. Electrical is electrical. That's one of the things I think the independent aftermarket has in spades. We can work on a Subaru, a Saab, a Volvo, or Mercedes, everything, because 12 volts is 12 volts. Mm-hmm. Learn your foundation, but seek it out. There are VR training stuff now. I'm actually getting into that with smart glasses, VR training. It's amazing what's happening. We've been able to take 2-year programs and compress them into 3 months.
Which is incredible.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And I want to tell you guys, too, that, since I first met you, Jason, I've listened to a ton of the episodes, and not everyone, but respect to both of you guys for putting the time in, because this is not easy. You guys work full-time jobs. You got other stuff going on, and to find time to consistently do something like this, especially when you have that basic, that fundamental goal of getting information about the trades out there and stuff like that. That's awesome. That guys like me, we're losing techs.
7-1 in the trades.
Yep. Yeah. We need more in there. But I also appreciate the fact that you guys are open to talking about just about anything. And some of the shows are just fucking so much fun.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that.
We appreciate. Yeah, for the entertainment value. Once in a while, we meander off into something else. I know, depending on our timing, whether it's this episode or the other one we record today comes out first, sometimes it's just worth moving off on a different direction. And when John and I first started this, it was the idea of, yes, we talk about the trades and we're really encouraged to get young people into it. But also, it's the talk around the break table.
The random shit that
sometimes it's just some random stuff that you're bullshitting about. We also go off on those tangents, but we appreciate that you were listening. We appreciate you coming in with us today for sure. Yeah. I hope that anyone listening today, if they've got any questions, reach out to us. We're, according to a couple of our listeners, we need to do a questions from the audience.
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
But we need more questions
we
from you.
We don't have any.
We don't have that many.
I got one for you, Jason.
Yeah.
So if you get a divorce in Arkansas, is she still your sister?
Yes. Once removed.
Arkansas is the only place where you can get a sympathy card that says, "I'm sorry, Uncle Dad," at the local Walgreens.
Do you know what a divorce and a tornado in Oklahoma have in common? Somebody going to lose a trailer.
Yep. Somebody's losing the trailer.
I like it.
Did I say that out loud?
Yep.
I like it a lot.
That's too good.
Is there anything before we wrap up here, Andy, that we didn't mention, we didn't get to, that you'd like to say, mention, talk about?
No, I can't think of anything off the top of my head except to tell you guys thank you.
Perfect.
No, thank you, sir.
This has been really enjoyable.
Oh no, we're excited that it happened. Keep in mind, I'm fascinated with how you've described your new employee. If your new employee works out and they listen to this and would be interested in coming on, we would be very open to that.
You got to stop by the shop and meet him.
I'll come by the shop and meet him. I'll definitely make the time to do that. Yeah, for sure.
And this is for you, good sir.
Yeah, we know you're a rum drinker, but this is the unofficial whiskey of the podcast.
That's the official whiskey.
Wow.
Unsupported, unsponsored.
Awesome.
Yes, we can go down the road. Hopefully one day we can look back and go, hey, we gave this to every single one of our guests and maybe they sponsor us. So the Four Roses, we drank this during our first recording ever that was completely unusable.
Yeah.
I said some really off-color shit that first night.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, being from Canada, I could understand that.
Yeah,
we went right off the fucking rails.
Yeah, we fell right off the fucking deep end.
But my daughter, my oldest, had bought me a bottle of that for Father's Day, and that's what we drank.
That is awesome.
So,
quick one for you. My next door neighbor, Dean's brother, I used to live next door to him.
Oh, okay. I was over there looking at some stuff in his garage one time. I know where he's at. Yeah.
Yeah. I had my wedding reception there.
Oh, really?
But he used to work for a sanitation department, and every year for Christmas he'd do trash Santa, all the stuff he found.
Oh, sure.
I do like trash Santa.
Well, he had found this bottle of whiskey from like 1938 or something, and it was unopened, and we cracked it on the day I got married, and we finished it the day I got divorced.
Funny.
I love it.
That's a good way to start and end it.
I love it.
Good Lord, man.
Well, listen, thank you, everybody, for listening again this week. We really, really appreciate it, Andy. We can't thank you enough for not only taking the time, but coming in and sharing some experience and some perspective with us. We hope every week and every time we have a guest in with us that we just encourage one more person to strongly consider what is a great career path.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's, again, we can't thank you enough. It's really, really, really appreciated. And get that up to the mic. People love that noise.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is. But yeah.
Cheers, good sir. Thank you for coming in and joining us today. We have loosely talked a few times about having an I Saw golf tournament because almost all our guests are golfers. We'll have to include Andy if it ends up happening.
Figure out something.
Yeah.
Yep.
We don't make no real money off this, folks, so anything we do is just kind of for fun and off our own cuff here. So
absolutely. But yeah, thanks for having us in the East Side job trailer. Man.
Yes, back together. It's been fun, man. We haven't been together in
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
7 weeks.
It's been a long time since we've been in the same one. Andy, if you ever come back, we'd be happy to have you back on again.
Yeah.
Even if we have to argue about hockey the whole time, I'd be fine with it.
Well, this is America. You have the right to be wrong.
That is true.
Yeah, as his shirt says.
Right.
I'm not arguing. I'm just explaining why I'm right.
I like it. Also, John has his great shirt on from New Orleans about the lobsters and the shellfish down there. Says, well, it ain't going to suck itself. I know we mentioned it earlier, but that's a great T-shirt. Man.
I actually found the one person that I actually did not want to see me in this shirt. My doctor. She was at the gas station this morning, and I turned around and saw her, and she had a very sour face on. And I'm like, oh, God.
That's actually kind of funny. Actually.
Sorry, Dr. Ishii.
Yeah, I like it. So remember, everybody, if you want to be a guest like Andy, just check out the website at isawpodcast.com. It's really easy to sign up. Yep. Please come back and see us again. Thank you last time for taking the time to do this. And remember, everybody, when you're out there, be safe this week, and your work keeps the world working.
Sláinte.
Cheers.